Quick quiz, which Star Rail path has the most characters? I wouldn't blame you for not knowing off the top of your head because the top few are pretty close, but if I asked you which path has the least characters, you probably already know its Preservation, clocking in at a total of 5 out of Star Rail's 60 total playable characters. Considering the relatively even spread of the other paths, all being no more than one away from the next up, and recent patches not adding a full 3 new characters, I feel pretty comfortable saying that Hoyoverse doesn't want Preservation to be neglected. It's just that trying to design them brings up some pretty difficult challenges that no other path faces. I mean seriously, if you are running the Trailblazer and March's stronger imaginary counterparts, there are only 3 Preservation units and not a single 4-star. That can't be a coincidence. And it's not like it has anything to do with Preservation not finding a place in the meta, because Aventurine and Fu Xuan have continued to have insane value. So what exactly is it about shielders that make them such a headache to design? Do you want to play a cool new game and maybe like legendary mythological heroes? Well, do I have something for you. Raid Shadow Legends is supporting the channel, and they are offering free legendary champions to new players. If you don't know Raid, it's a massively popular game with tons of different kinds of gameplay to appeal to any type of player. With over 800 collectible champions, there are a lot of very unique and interesting designs from both a visual and gameplay perspective. Sun Wukong, the protagonist of the classic Chinese legend Journey to the West, is freely available for a limited time. All you have to do is download the game with my special link in the description and use the promo code MonkeyKing within 72 hours of registering. Wukong has cool special abilities like being able to steal enemy buffs and reviving himself when downed. That's not all though, as iconic figures from Norse mythology are also here with Raid's huge Asgard Divide event. By logging in 7 times before October 23rd, you can get Loki for free, with even more rewards available after that. Loki is known for being mischievous, and that's reflected in his abilities to evade enemy attacks and cloak himself. If this sounds interesting to you, you can scan my QR code that's on the screen right now to download, and don't forget to use the promo code MonkeyKing. You can find my clan Red's Flames in game and join. Thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. The first thing to investigate would be why the Abundance path doesn't face the same issues despite them both fulfilling the same role of defensive support. While Abundance is the second least populated path in the game, it's consistently gotten new additions with time, unlike Preservation. I don't agree with the idea that these two paths could have originally been just one since they have the same objective, because so do the other groups of paths. Well, not only does it feel more even to have 3 attacker, 2 offensive support, and 2 defensive support paths, but they each have distinctly different methods for their approach towards that common goal. Healing at its core is reactive. You only need to heal after you take damage. On the other hand, shields promote a proactive playstyle since you're taking measures to protect allies before damage comes in. This is also reflected in how they each deal with debuffs, as Abundance characters will typically cleanse a status that you're already affected by, meanwhile Preservation characters provide effect resistance so you won't need to deal with it in the first place. Shields greatly reduce the risk of dying to burst damage because of how high they make your total effective health, but not without some key drawbacks. First off, pure healing is always going to be more forgiving than pure shielding. If you take damage, you can react with a healing ability and you're in the clear. But if you take damage through a broken shield or it just happened to be down, that's your character now permanently in more danger than they would have been otherwise. Maybe at the start the Star Rail devs expected players to run both a shielder and a healer, but given how endgame content directly encourages faster clears, that's just not a sacrifice worth making when that slot can be used for another damage dealer or damage amplifying support. Okay, so shielding generally requires you to be more conscious of it and play around it, but that can be said about a lot of characters in their kits. However, this issue is made even worse by the outside factors of the game's other combat mechanics. A healer can straight up spend 0 skill points towards healing if nobody on the team needs it. Some characters might have unique exceptions, like Lingshot needing to use her skill to refresh her summon, but it generally holds true for the healers. This makes Preservation units naturally skew towards being more resource dependent, which is not a very desirable property for supports who are supposed to be generating resources for their damage carries. Another disadvantage is that shields are counted as a buff, meaning their expiration is on a timer that counts down with every turn used by whoever it's on. This is pretty counterintuitive to the fact that most, if not all characters want more speed to output more attacks or generate more skill points or energy. In the worst example of this, you have action advanced characters losing their buffs really quickly. Preservation characters having higher defensive stats in combination with higher target probability unfortunately isn't quite reliable enough to make up for these shortcomings either, given the prevalence of AoE attacks. So in the end, it comes to a polarizing situation where if you have a shield that you can't easily get 100% uptime on, you're putting in significantly more work to get worse results when compared to running a healer. So if shielders suffer from unfortunate design like this, why is Aventurine so good? That's the thing. Aventurine actually works because he is specifically built to deal with these inherent issues, and now that he's done it, subsequent shielders will be expected to do the same. First of all, his shields are all AoE to sufficiently protect the whole team, but he grants a bit extra to his lowest health ally to combat the fact that he can't target with it. Another really important special property Aventurine has is his ability to stack his shield, which isn't something they can normally do. Other shields would just reset to the initial value, but this unique ability to stack it is what gives Aventurine the luxury to have smaller but more frequent additions to your team's shields. You now don't have to worry about wasted value from refreshing the shield early, and you don't have to worry about the shield expiring after 3 turns because of how often he's able to refresh it with his follow-up, which is stacked by taking hits, using his ultimate, or teammates launching follow-ups. Speaking of which, a follow-up is the perfect application method for his shield because it means he can refresh it independently of his own turns. If his build is good enough, his skill can be used as needed, letting him freely generate skill points too. His follow-up also works to his benefit by giving him strong synergy with one of the game's premier team archetypes. And of course, these days, even a sustained support also needs to be putting up some kind of offensive prowess to make themselves worth using, and Aventurine definitely delivers on that front. His defense scaling gives him tons of free crit rate, which works well with his ultimate increasing crit damage dealt to a single target. To summarize, Aventurine has all the makings of a powerful shielder type character, but without even a couple of these properties, he'd be a significantly worse character. Even though new 4 stars are good, they're obviously not meant to be as good as 5 stars, so I can see why no new 4-star preservation character has been released since the original March 7th. Even if they're made to be just a little bit weaker, that's probably enough to push them over the edge of not actually being able to sufficiently protect the whole team. It's a similar story with Fu Xuan. Her field provides damage reduction instead of shielding, but it's not like you can easily make another damage mitigating support. Her concept only works because of her unique ability to redirect damage to herself, and heal allies. Now, I'm not going to say shielders and other preservation characters are impossible for Hoyoverse to design. Given how creative they are, they definitely can if they want to, but it's undeniably harder. For every other path, it's like, okay, you need to check off a few boxes to ensure they fit the role, and then you can give them whatever. But for preservation characters, you have to fight against the laundry list of problems that can be total detriments to their usability, especially given how sustain supports are the most interchangeable for team building out of all the characters in the game. The Star Rail devs aren't exactly super encouraged to add more preservation characters, even if the roster is slightly unbalanced in count right now. But those are just the conclusions I've come to based on the information available, so who's really to say? I hope you found this video to be interesting or insightful. Subscribe for more Honkai Star Rail discussion videos, and as always, thanks for watching. Also, one last thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for the sponsor, link is in the description.